I 16 år höll han nästan helt tyst. Matt Johnson, britten som startade enmansorkestern TheThe med sina både personliga och politiska sånger som satte färg på världen då. Och en orsak till att han är tillbaka är filmen med Inertia Variations, gjord av hans förra partner, svenska regissören Johanna St. Michaels, som handlar om honom men också om kreativitet. Matt Johnson och Meja welcome. Matt, you're starting making music again, and you're also about to give concerts.
Yes.
How come?
Well, it's partly due to the film, The Inertia Variations, which is part of this large project, Radio Cineola Trilogy. It also features, a documentary, art exhibition. And in the film itself, there's a moment where my oldest son, Jackson, says, I think it's really good that my dad is making his comeback in dedication of Andrew, my late brother, Andy Dog, who designed a lot of my sleeves. And when I saw that in the film, that was from Solman.
All right, Andy Dog. Yeah.
And when I saw that in the film, there's a new song that I wrote for Andrew, but I just thought, as Jackson said that, I thought it's got to be more substantial than just a single for Record Store Day. And each year I would meet with my agent, and he would, over the last few years, and he would say to me, how about doing some concerts? And I would say, no. But this year, having seen that moment in the film, and it was already in my mind, he said, look, we've got some really nice offers in, what do you think? And I finally said yes. And so from that, I'm putting together a new band, I'm writing new material, and it was really due to that documentary itself and that moment in the documentary that provided the catalyst.
Meja, you're a friend of Matt. It's not because you have been on the same record label, you're friends from all time. You are a part of his movie. You perform one of his songs, Slow Motion Replay.
Yeah.
How was it like doing a song about one of the artists that you really like?
Well, first of all, I mean, when we met in Mallorca, like back in the day, by the pool, hanging out, I've always had this. I've been a big fan of you since like way back, since I heard the first, the Dusk album, and it sort of came up in my head. It's like, I would love to work with this guy, but of course you were like, no. It's like, no, well, no, you didn't say that, but you were like, no, I don't. No, I'm busy doing being a landlord. That's what you said. So
because you have this big house in Shoreditch in London, which you are a landlord.
He's a business guy, but that idea just came up to my head. But then we started talking about it, and you confronted me with choosing one of my favorite songs, which is Slow Motion Replay, because that song in the lyrics in that song is just so. That's just so much truth in your lyrics, and there's so much that I, as a writer myself, I wish that I could get myself to write what you're expressing.
Maya's version.
The more I see, the less I know.
Yeah, it's so brilliant.
Talking about the political things, which you can see that you still have a huge interest in them and in the film. But if we go back in time to your old albums, some of those topics that were in your lyrics, like Islam is rising, the Christians mobilizing, or
51st state of the USA.
Yeah, we are still as
Sweden,
much talk.
Is Sweden the 54th state?
54th, we are about by now, but we're getting over. How do you look, if you look back on your own past in the things that you wrote about?
I try not to look too much back on my own past, but one thing I would say is everything goes in cycles. Human nature doesn't change. So throughout the centuries, it's the same battles of the powerful against the powerless, those in power, the majority without power. And those battles just play out across all different cultures and through all different times. And human nature, as you get older and if you've travelled around the world and you meet people from different cultures, we're all very, very similar. And so the themes that I write about are quite universal, really.
But at the time, you were young, and you made this lyrics in a environment that was strong and sexy and powerful. So there wasn't too much artists like you.
No, it was unusual, but I've always had a passion for geopolitics growing up. I grew up in quite a political household, really, and so we would always talk about politics and music and books and art. And just a very, very strong... growing up in Britain during the era of Thatcherism, it really inspired me to try to express myself and, against what I thought was unfair and wrong. And, anyone with a social conscience, I think, particularly in these times, we're living in very strange times, as we all know, tumultuous times. But it's a time for possibilities, and I think I'm excited by the fact young people are becoming more political and now starting to talk about politics.
Really looking forward to hear what's coming up next, or in a couple of months. There will be new music and concerts as well.
Yes,
Thank you so much, Matt Johnson.
Thank you.
Meja Kullersten also for coming. Matt Johnson och TheThe alltså som kommer med ny musik och konserter. Och redan nu så kan man se honom i Johanna St. Michaels film The Inertia Variations här på SVT Play.